G'day mates, I'm Maya, and this is my story. Twisted into the glittering sprawl of Sydney, where the harbour sparkles like a dream, but under its surface hides a darkness deep enough to drown in. I used to believe my family was my home, my sanctuary, my reason. But betrayal has a way of turning love into ashes, and now I'm the ember rising from it all, hot, fierce and ready to burn. You see, I lived what some would call the dream life. Our townhouse in Rose Bay had floor-to-ceiling windows that kissed the horizon. My morning started with Lily's giggles and the smell of fresh sourdough. My husband Ethan, picture a sun-kissed charmer with salt and pepper hair, the type who shook hands with CEOs and came home with truffle oil. He worked at one of Sydney's top ad agencies. Clever, persuasive, always 2 steps ahead of the curve. Then there was my cousin Sophie. Oh, Sophie, the wild, laughing blonde who swore she'd never betray family. She'd been my best friend since childhood. Brunches in Bondi, secret beach picnics, late-night chats over Sauvignon Blanc and Spotify throwbacks. And Mum, Karen could cut through life with military efficiency. She had her flaws, didn't we all? But I believed she'd go to war for me. She was Lily's doting gran and my reluctant cheerleader. Or so I thought. Until the storm came. One rainy afternoon, Lily was upstairs crafting with glitter and chaos. I was rifling through Ethan's drawer looking for a school event flyer. That's when I found it. A USB stick, hidden behind an old business card. I don't know what made me plug it in. Instinct? Fate? Or had my heart always known? Emails. Dozens. From Sophie. Some professional, sure, but most were personal. Too personal. Photos of them on secret getaways, a weekend at a wine retreat in Hunter Valley. There was even a folder titled Custody Strategy, as if I were a threat, not a mother. That's when it hit me. They weren't just having an affair. They were planning to take my daughter. And the dagger? Mum had helped. Dozens of emails from me to Sophie, ramblings about work stress, Lily's tantrums, my feelings of loneliness, all used as ammo. She'd been painting me as unfit, fragile, borderline unstable. They were building a case. The USB slid from my fingers and clattered on the desk. I backed away like it had burned me. I stared out the rain-streaked window. Across the bay, the harbour bridge stood like a steel guardian, unmoving. The city glistened beneath the downpour, indifferent. In that moment, a part of me died, but something else was born. Revenge. I stood barefoot on the balcony, rain soaking through my shirt, hair matted to my face. "You'll all pay," I whispered. Not in rage, but with the chilling calm of someone who had nothing left to lose. Ethan, Sophie, Mum, they thought I'd fall apart. They thought I'd cry into a bottle of Merlot and hand over my child like a woman broken. No. Sydney is beautiful, but it has teeth, and I was ready to bite back. This city doesn't just sparkle, it blinds. And now I was going to turn their betrayal into a spotlight. I would expose them for who they truly were, one by one, blow by blow. Because the truth is, when a woman has nothing left to lose, she becomes dangerous. So what would you do if your loved ones betrayed you? Would you scream? Would you beg? Not me. I chose to fight. Stick with me, mates, because this isn't just a sob story, it's a reckoning. And I promise you, this revenge is going to light Sydney on fire. I'm still shaken, mates. Even now, as I sit in the glow of our pristine Rose Bay living room, clutching a mug of tea I've barely sipped, My hands won't stop trembling. My life, everything I built, trusted, loved, has been ripped from under me like a rug soaked in lies. Ethan, Sophie, Mum. How do you even begin to process that kind of betrayal? The USB drive sits on the coffee table like a ticking bomb, still plugged into my laptop. The screen's gone dark, but I know what's in there. I saw it all. Emails, photos, plans, Ethan and Sophie kissing behind sandstone walls in the rocks, selfies in a boutique hotel I never knew they visited, Google Calendar invites labelled strategy meeting, code for whatever twisted planning they were doing behind my back. And then those messages from Mum, the worst of them all. She forwarded Sophie private conversations I thought were sacred. I vented to my mother about postpartum depression, about my insecurities, about feeling like I wasn't good enough for Ethan sometimes. Not once did I think she'd weaponize my vulnerability. She's unstable, one message read. She needs help, another said. That was the story they were building, not only to justify the affair, but to strip me of my rights as Lily's mother. They weren't just breaking my heart, they were going for the jugular. I stood in the kitchen, numb, staring at the family photo magnetised to our fridge. Ethan's smile was so confident in that picture, Lily's tiny hand clutching his index finger. Sophie stood beside me during Lily's first birthday, champagne glass in hand, laughing in that carefree way she always had. I wanted to rip the photo apart, but no, not yet. I'd need it soon enough. I'm no detective, but desperation turns you into one fast. I checked Ethan's phone while he showered. He hadn't logged out. Arrogant, sloppy. I went through his emails and calendar, booked meetings that didn't exist, sent confirmation emails to vendors under a fake address, made it seem like he was missing crucial pitch opportunities. Then I leaked screenshots of his flirty texts with Sophie. No names, just enough for clients to start guessing. A week later, I overheard him cursing on the phone in his office, pacing like a madman. No, I didn't authorise that. I never sent that file. His assistant must have panicked. I smiled into my tea. I wasn't doing this alone either. I had backup, Tara. Tara's a PR guru I met during a charity event last year. We bonded over badly made mojitos and shared horror stories about exes. I never expected to need her skills like this, but once I told her what Ethan, Sophie and Mum were planning, she was all in. We met in Darling Harbour, under the soft buzz of waterfront lamps. She wore her trademark leather jacket and confidence like armour. "We're not just exposing them," she said, flipping through notes on her tablet. "We're destroying their public credibility first. Bleed them socially, then legally." God, I loved her for that. Together, we crafted a careful drip feed of gossip. Tara had contacts in all the right places. Small-time blogs, anonymous exposé pages, podcast hosts hungry for scandal. She made sure the right breadcrumbs landed in the right feeds. Meanwhile, I kept playing house. I was civil to Mum when she called, pretending not to notice how forced her voice sounded. I let Sophie come by one afternoon to see Lily. I even took a selfie with her, both of us smiling. But later, I photoshopped the background to hint at a clandestine affair and posted it on Harbour Whisper. The comments were brutal. One even guessed Ethan's identity. And still, they didn't suspect me. But something was shifting. Ethan was checking his phone constantly. He'd started locking his laptop. One night, I heard him whispering in the laundry room, something about media damage control. Sophie sounded paranoid too. She messaged me late one night, "Weird stuff happening online. You okay?" I didn't reply. Even Mum's nerves were cracking. She called me 3 times in one day, her voicemails increasingly shaky. "Just checking in," she'd say. "I miss you, Lily too." Guilt, maybe, or fear that her betrayal would come back to bite her. Good. But here's the thing. I know I'm being watched too. One evening, as I left Lily's ballet class, I spotted a man across the street. Too well dressed to be random, too still to be casual. He vanished when I looked twice. PI, probably. Ethan's attempt to stay ahead of a storm he doesn't even know he's in. I kept walking, one hand on my phone, the other clutching Lily's tiny fingers. She smiled up at me, completely unaware. Everything I'm doing, every lie I tell, every trap I lay, it's all for her. Sydney isn't just a backdrop, it's a battleground now. One corner glittering with gossip, another echoing with whispers, and me? I'm in the center, tightening the strings. This web I'm spinning? It's silk now, but soon it'll strangle. The storm has officially begun. Not a drop of rain has fallen, but I can feel it in the air, charged, electric, pulsing, and I stirred it. From the outside, I'm still Mia, mother, wife, homemaker. I walk Lily to school each morning, wave to the other mums at drop-off, and post photos of our trips to the zoo or Saturday gelato runs in Surrey Hills. Ethan still kisses me goodbye, like we're fine. Sophie still sends smiley emojis when she checks in. But they're starting to sweat, and I'm turning up the heat. The burner account, at Harbour Whisper, is doing more than I imagined. The latest post was a screenshot, heavily redacted, but just enough detail to suggest corporate sabotage. I captioned it, "When your lover leaks client data to sabotage your wife's future, should we still call it love, or something else?" The post hit hard. The gossip pages started connecting dots. Anonymous comments mentioned Ethan's ad agency by name. Someone even DM'd the account, asking, "Is this about the dude from Bayside Creative?" Bingo. By morning, their agency's PR team was in full panic mode. One of their biggest clients, a luxury property developer, announced a pause in partnership until the rumors cleared. Sophie posted a bland selfie and lost 300 followers in 24 hours. I didn't think Instagram could reflect panic, but her forced smile said it all. Still, I kept smiling. I made Ethan's favorite breakfast, poached eggs and sourdough, while casually asking if everything was okay at work. He gave a clipped, "Yeah, just a hiccup," then downed his coffee like it burned going down. I almost laughed. But this isn't just about social sabotage anymore. I'm digging deeper. And what I found is enough to make your blood boil. Turns out, Ethan opened a secret bank account 6 months ago, under his business alias. I found a transfer of nearly $9,000 to a boutique fashion brand in Paddington. The same brand Sophie gushed about once over lunch. I cross-checked Sophie's photos. Sure enough, she'd worn a $4,000 jacket from their latest line. Using our savings. Let that sink in. He was draining our accounts slowly, methodically, to build a life with her. A future without me. And with Lily, if their emails were going by. I stared at the statements, rage simmering in my chest. But rage wouldn't serve me. Strategy would. So, I forged a little email, a flirtatious message from Sophie written in her tone, her emojis, her hashtags, directed to another creative director in a rival agency. Then I scheduled it to accidentally appear in Ethan's inbox via an anonymous tip. He found it that evening. I was folding laundry when I heard his voice rise from the study. "You've been playing both sides," he shouted. "Are you serious right now?" A pause. Then Sophie's frantic voice through the speaker. "Ethan, I swear I didn't. Someone's messing with us." I smirked and tucked Lily's PJs into the drawer. Let them tear each other apart.
Mum, meanwhile, was unraveling. I hadn't spoken to her since her last voicemail, but I had intercepted her meeting schedule through a shared Google Calendar we used ages ago. She was due to meet Marcus Hewson, Ethan's lawyer, again at a quiet coffee shop in Newtown, so I sent her a message, anonymously. "Your daughter knows everything. Tick-tock." No reply, but the next day, her brunch with the ladies at Double Bay was cancelled. She didn't even call to explain. Good. Let her feel it. But as the walls close in on them, I've started feeling eyes on me too. Shadows, silence that lingers. On a breezy Thursday, I saw a man in a black cap and beige trench coat hanging near my favorite bakery in Paddington. He didn't buy anything, didn't speak to anyone, just stood there, glancing at my reflection in the glass. I pretended not to notice, grabbed my croissant and walked away slowly, phone in hand. I'm guessing Ethan has hired a PI. He's too much of a control freak not to. But that's fine. I can play a role. Let them think I'm spiraling. Let them think I'm lost in mum duties and granola balls. Meanwhile, I'm plotting the finale. I've started drafting a list, every lie they told, every step they took. Not for court, not yet. For the gala. Yes, mates, that gala at Sydney Town Hall, it's not just a society night anymore. It's my battleground. I've already called in Tara. We're planning something that'll expose them publicly. No vague posts, no cryptic hints. I want everyone, clients, friends, strangers, to see what kind of people they really are. I'll project it on a screen if I have to. But here's the real twist. The deeper I go, the less I feel like the victim, the more I feel powerful. Maybe that's dangerous. Maybe I don't care. Because if they thought I was the weak one, they've never seen a mother push too far, never seen what Sydney's quiet waters hide when the tide turns. So I'll ask you again, mates, what would you do if your family schemed to take your child, your life, your identity? Would you watch them succeed? Or would you stir the storm? I've already made my choice. And this is just the thunder before the downpour. Revenge isn't just about the final blow. It's about the slow, inevitable tightening of the noose. I knew that from the start. And as the weeks passed, I could feel the noose cinching around my husband, Ethan, my cousin, Sophie, and my own mother, Karen, the woman who raised me. I started by reclaiming my life piece by piece, and now it was time to unravel theirs. Ethan always loved control of our home, our finances, and especially me. But he didn't know that during the last year of our marriage, I'd been quietly becoming digital self-defense courses, cybersecurity, ethical hacking, social engineering. The very tools he once used to manipulate me were now in my hands. When I finally accessed one of Ethan's dummy email accounts, I discovered a pattern. Hidden in folders labeled Work Notes and Receipts were hidden threads of secret communications, payments, and even offshore crypto wallets. I didn't steal the money, not yet. I had something better in mind. I started leaking documents, bit by bit, to an anonymous Twitter account I created, @EthanUncovered. At first, no one noticed.
But when I posted screenshots of fake invoices Ethan had used to siphon money from his company, a whistleblower group picked up the story. Within 48 hours, one of Ethan's firm's major clients dropped them. The cracks had begun to show. But I wasn't just after Ethan. Sophie had inserted herself into his life like she was born to replace me. She even posted a smug Instagram reel wearing my old robe, sipping coffee on the same balcony where I once dreamed of starting a family. So I went for the jugular. I sent a USB stick anonymously to her employer, a mid-tier Sydney consultancy firm. It contained a PDF titled, How Sophie Cooked the Quarterly Review. Screenshots of data manipulation, exaggerated client metrics,
And in audio clips, Sophie recorded herself bragging to Ethan about tweaking numbers to keep the bonuses flowing. Sophie was suspended pending investigation. The day it made the news, I sat in a sleek cafe on Oxford Street, earbuds in, laptop open, watching a live stream of Sophie storming out of her office as a Channel 7 reporter hurled questions. I stirred my cappuccino slowly and smiled. Then my phone buzzed. "Why are you doing this?" I stared at the message. A small part of me still wanted to believe my mother, Karen, had been manipulated, but deep down, I knew better. Karen had known everything. She was the one who told me to forgive Ethan the first time I found messages between him and another woman. "Men will be men," she said. "You have to fight for your marriage." When I caught him again, this time with my cousin, she told me I was being dramatic. "At least he stayed in the family," she even joked over Sunday lunch. That was the day something inside me died. So I replied to her, "You helped me bury me alive. Now you get to feel what that's like." Then I blocked her number. But Karen didn't sit quietly. The next morning, I received an email from a solicitor. Karen, my mom, had filed for defamation and emotional distress. It was laughable. She had no case. Still, the pressure mounted, like a volcano ready to blow. That same week, Ethan's office was raided. The whistleblowing triggered an audit and federal agents showed up with warrants. I watched the footage online. There he was, Ethan, in his designer suit, being walked out with his laptop and phone sealed in evidence bags. Next came Sophie. Her firm let her go quietly, without prejudice. But I wasn't done. I had one last card to play, one that would devastate both of them. Ethan had taken out a massive life insurance policy in my name just 3 months before I filed for divorce, with Sophie listed as the emergency contact and sole beneficiary. That wasn't just suspicious, that was criminally suspicious. I compiled a report and sent it to Caddy, a journalist I'd built rapport with over the past few weeks. She was sharp, fearless, and known for exposing corporate crimes. When she replied, "Let's meet, this is explosive," I knew the endgame was near. But revenge isn't clean. The moment you strike, you expose evil, but you also expose yourself. And I felt it. Friends distanced themselves. Some blocked me, my inbox filled with threats and judgment. But I didn't care. Not yet. Because this wasn't just about their fall. It was about my rise. I stood by the window of my modest Bondi apartment, city lights shimmering in the distance. My laptop glowed behind me, the final edits complete. It was done. The evidence I'd gathered over weeks, audio files, screenshots, bank statements, was now compiled into a single expose. I turned to the screen. The file name said it all. The faces behind my fall, a true story. I narrated it all, calm, factual, unflinching. I didn't need to scream. The truth would do that for me. Just then, my phone buzzed. "We're live on 7 News in 2 hours. Ready?" It was Caddy, the investigative journalist who'd believed in my story. I typed, "Yes, let's burn the curtain." She replied with a flame emoji. 2 hours later, across living rooms and mobile screens in Australia and beyond, people tuned in to their nightly news expecting politics and sport. Instead, they saw me, elegant, composed, in a maroon blazer, and they heard my story. The betrayal, the theft, the gaslighting, the heartbreak, WhatsApp chats, voice notes, video clips, emails. Every lie exposed. Ethan and Sophie were caught on tape discussing how to move money behind my back. My mother's voice played next. She was planning on taking over my estate. The public was shocked. Twitter exploded. Hashtag Justice for Mia trended within the hour. Ethan saw it live from a pub in Surrey Hills. He dropped his beer. Sophie called him in tears. My mother went silent. The video hit 380,000 views by morning. By noon, it was trending globally. But the best part? Law firms reached out to represent me, pro bono. A criminal case was forming. And for the first time in months, I felt peace. Not because they were falling, but because I was finally standing. This is my story, and it's only the beginning.